Are there unicorns in the Bible? I was not going to do a videotape today because we're getting ready in my church for Easter tomorrow. And I was on cooking preparation for the meal tomorrow. And I got home and my wife and I were going to hang out and relax. And a friend of mine on Facebook wrote to me and said to me, Jose, are there unicorns in the Bible? And what is a unicorn? A unicorn is some kind of a mystical creature that has one horn that we see in like fairy tales. And I said, well, I said, maybe I should do a little videotape today on unicorns. And what is a unicorn? And be quite honest with you, the mystical figure of the unicorn, the one-horn horse, I don't think that that's real, to answer her question. But in the King James, the word unicorn is actually used. It's in your Strong's Hebrew Concordance, 7214 in your Strong's Hebrew Concordance. And it's the word rem, or in the Hebrew, I don't know if it's rem. A rem is a wild ox. If you Google the images of what they think it is, it's called the aurochs, A-U-R-O-C-H-S. Google images for an A-U-R-O-C-H, which is an extinct longhorn ancestor of the domestic cattle. Now, when I Google the images of the rem or the auroch, it does have indeed two horns. But very interesting. Let me just read to you a few scriptures here from the Old Testament with the word unicorn. Numbers 22 and 32. Numbers 23 and 22. God brought them out of Egypt. He has, as it were, the strength of an unicorn. Numbers 24 and 8. God brought him forth out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of an unicorn. He shall eat up the nations, his enemies, and shall break their bones and pierce them through with arrows. Deuteronomy 33 and 17. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of a unicorn. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. Job 39, verse 9. Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee, or abide in thy crib? And finally, Job 39, verse 10. Canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow, or will he harrow the valleys after thee? So when I look at this word 7214, as I told you, I got the word rem, which is the auroch, A-U-R-O-C-H, which is really a longhorn ancestor, extinct, of the domestic cattle. So I said, well, why is it called a unicorn? Well, I'm not real sure, but the Old Testament was also translated in the Latin Vulgate. The Old and the New Testament has a pretty good Latin translation called the Latin Vulgate, okay? And then there's the Greek Septuagint. The Old Testament was also written in the Greek. There's a Greek Old Testament called the Septuagint. So there were several instances of the unicorn in both the Septuagint and in the Latin Vulgate. So I did a little bit of study for you guys before I relax for the rest of my Saturday. And this is what I found out. In Numbers 22 and 32, 23 and 32, God brought them out of Egypt. He has, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. In the Septuagint, it is translated as the monokerotos. And keros in the Greek means horn. Mono is one. So indeed, they call it the unicorn in the Greek Septuagint. They call it the one horn animal. Okay. Now, let me give you another instance here because I think I'm going to solve the answer of my viewer here. Another instance on Deuteronomy 33 and 17. His glory is like the first thing of a bullock, and his horns are like the horns of a unicorn. In the Greek Septuagint, again, it uses, am I here? Is this around? Mm-hmm. Yeah. They use the word monokerotos, or the one horn, the single horn animal. Okay. But I think that here, the key is in the Latin Vulgate of Numbers 23 and 22. Because it says in the Latin Vulgate, it says in the English, in the King James, God brought them out of Egypt. He has, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. In the Latin Vulgate, it says, it uses the word rhinocerotis. Rhinoceros. Rhinocerotis calls it the Latin Vulgate. Now, the rhinoceros is really a one-horned animal. So I would say that the unicorn, if we're going to really be accurate with the unicorn of the Bible, it's the rhinoceros. If you Google the images of a rhinoceros, it's got one little horn, but it's only got one horn. To me, that's the unicorn. It's the rhinoceros. But again, the Greek, the King James translation of unicorn is the word rem in the Hebrew, which is a wild ox. A wild ox. Two horns, not one. So I don't know why they call it unicorn. It's got two horns. And they think it's the auroch. But again, I think that the Latin Vulgate answers the question for us of what a unicorn could be, because the Latin Vulgate identifies it as the rhinoceros. So for my dear viewer here, thank you for that question, because I was not even going to do a videotape, but I decided to just shoot this up for you guys, and have a blessed Easter. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.